Actually,
Alrighty, here we are again with another episode of Just Drive, Cars and Life. I'm your host, Naveed.
I'm Cameron.
We got Cameron back, and we have our new guest here, Ricky. Ricky, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us here.
Glad to be here.
It's an honor to have you here as well.
Thank you. I'm one of the originals.
You're one of the originals. Very good. So let's get to it. You drive an Infiniti Q60S.
A Q60S, 2019.
What all have you done to it?
Well, I've done the intakes. I modded the radiator baffle because I wanted it to take a little bit more air. I've done the heat exchanger, downpipes, full catback system, reservoir tank, suspension. I have IBAC springs on it, which for me on springs are maybe the best, and sway bars, the Hotchkiss.
Interesting.
In front and in the rear. And I just put on the cross-drilled and slotted rotors as well.
Wow. So, in regards to that, I think you're the only Q60S in Dallas that I've seen in person so far, right?
Really, I don't know that I take off too much. The Q50 has been much more popular. I don't know why. It's a great car.
I think the fact that it's just a sedan, maybe.
Maybe that the reason I have a Q60 because I have a Q50
Right.
as well for my wife.
Right.
But it's a great car. You know, maybe I had my doubts when I didn't see any. I didn't see him take him off. I'm like, did I do the right choice? But it's been a really good car. You know, it's powerful. It's a fun car to drive. It reacts well. You know, and we've been in the field a few times having fun, and it performs, behaves, pisses some people off. So,
But that's the beauty of it.
and that's the beauty of it. And then there's not a lot of them,
Right.
which maybe that's what I like the most. That I don't see a lot of them around.
Right. Well, and I think that's what makes it really unique about your car. I mean, I love this setup on this car. It is unbelievable. Like, hats off to you in that regard.
Thank you.
But you come from a BMW background.
I do.
And not just any BMW. You had a BMW 840 Ci.
And I put full Super Sprint catback systems on it. I had headers on it. I lowered it with IBACs. I put cross-drill rotors on it. It was a car that it was, well, just to start.
Yeah, like start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, what made you go lean to that car? Why did you want that car? I mean, the full 9 yards. And why didn't you even keep it?
Because it's sexy.
Well, the first car I had, the first Beamer I had was a 1974 2002.
Okay.
Which was my sister's, and I inherited it.
Okay.
It took a few beatings. I got rid of it. Then I bought a 535 CISI or something. I forget and it was a really fast car. Well, at that time, it was considered the fastest sedan.
Was it a manual or automatic?
That was an automatic.
Wow. 2.5 liter?
My 2002 was a 4-shift.
Yeah.
No, this was a 3.5 liter car, and it was
Straight 6.
straight 6.
Wow. Okay.
It was a powerful car, and then I put an exhaust kind of homemade in the shop.
Okay.
And I kept it like that for a while. I put wheels on it, and then I sold it because I saw the 840.
So, was the 840 was like a new car back then when it first came out, or was
I bought it in 1999, and it was a 95.
Okay.
So
4 years.
when I got it, I had a company car. That's why I sold my other Beamer. Because I had fixed it. I wanted an 840. It was just a magnificent car.
Yeah.
For me, it was the same thing. You didn't see them all around.
Right.
You saw the 325.
You don't even see them nowadays.
And still, I saw one at one of the shows a while back.
Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
Was it the white one?
No, it was red, and this guy had it in pristine condition.
Wow. Okay.
So
why the 840 instead of the 850?
when the 850 came out,
Mhm.
it came out with a ton of problems.
Okay.
Okay, and they said that the 850 was pretty much 325 engines
Slammed
put together.
at the crank.
Okay, so it gave a lot of problems. It was a fast car, but the first ones were problematic. Then they put the 840 out with the 4.0, which is the one that BMW came back in the 2008 when they put the 8-cylinder was exactly the 4-liter again because it was a really reliable car. It's like the 3-liter in the BMWs. They're workhorses. So I sold a car. I had a company car, and I wanted to look for one. So I shopped around. I went to see one, and he was asking way too much. So I saw this one. It's funny because I get home. It was a Sunday morning. I remember like now it was about 8:30 in the morning. I'm looking for the paper because I'm looking for one. And I see one, and it says 1995 840 CI, So I called the guy, and I left him a voice message. He didn't answer. Hey, I'm looking at this car, He called me about 5 minutes later. He says, well, the car's at my mom's house. It's been there for 10 months. I haven't used it. And I said, oh, my God, it must be in bad condition, this guy.
Right.
He says, so we'll meet there. This is the address. So when I got there, his mom's like, here's a key. Take it. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for your son. So the BMWs, I don't know now because I haven't had one since then, are very hydraulic engines. They have to be lubricated. When I turned it on, it sounded like a 1950 tractor. I mean, those lifters, everything were singing like if it was Christmas because it had been sitting there. So I let it on for about 10 minutes, then it settled down, and then he came on, and when we tried it, it was factory. He hadn't done anything to it.
Okay.
So I said, I'll take the car. So he was asking $25,000 for the car.
With that condition.
In that condition. He was a doctor, a young guy. And then the thing is that you see this guy, and when I spoke to him, he says, well, I don't like the car because it's too low in my back. And I'm picturing an old person.
Right.
50s, 60s.
Right. something
Something like me now. So the guy,
Congratulations.
I go and I see the car, and it had a film like of dust on the bonnet and on the top because it had just been sitting there. So when the guy comes, he's a young guy,
Gosh.
So we tried it, and immediately, I was the first guy who called him. I said, I want the car. You think we could agree on 23? It's a Jewish blood. And he said, 23. He said, you think we can do 23 and a half? And I said, deal. So I took the car. And it's funny because his wife was German, and she had worked with me many years before when I worked at Lufthansa. So she was really happy that I took the car. So I had it for a while. I did springs. I did super sprint. I did the full catback system. I did the IBACs, as I said, rotors and wheels. I didn't do too much any else to the car, but it was a great car. I loved it. Powerful car, Then kids came. So it's time to get rid of the toys. I only used it on weekends because as I had a company car, I had that benefit that I had it covered, And but the BMW 840, if I'm not mistaken, was maybe the father of all the technology that came afterwards. It was said that it had 5 miles of wire. I don't know if it's true or not, but when I would go into the car and check, I mean, the
full 9 yards.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. And I'm talking about bundles tied together, It was something very...
How did it drive, though?
It's a great car. It was...
Because I know the aerodynamics on that car is, like, almost pristine.
It was a cool car because it was comfortable. Shit, you felt the weight of BMW sitting on the ground, 90 miles and up, it was just a beast. It was a fast car.
How fast did you go with it?
In Puerto Rico, I did maybe about 150 miles an hour.
No shit.
Yeah, it's a powerful car.
What's the fastest you've been?
The fastest I've been is some retard let me drive his M5 at 170 miles an hour.
Sounds familiar. I don't know who the hell would do that.
And he keep on going. I'm like, no, this is good enough.
Yep.
I just remember this open road, and I'm like, Ricky, hit it. and he hits it, and
It's scary.
Oh, I started laughing. I was laughing my head off.
Oh
It's
my
a
gosh.
beast.
It's fun.
Naveed's car is a beast, and I
So-
don't know now. So
So that really actually interests me because the car that got me into BMWs was looking at the old 840s.
oh, it's a magnificent.
And I
car.
still want one, either an 840 or an 850 Ci.
Well, I've looked. I wouldn't recommend an 850
Okay.
for several reasons.
Okay.
The parts are going to be very, 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 very difficult to find, even though the 840 and the 850 are very similar with the exception of the engine. 840, you can get away with it. That 8-cylinder is still around. Okay. For example, one of the problems I had with the car, and I'll wait. I mean, we'll talk about.
Keep going.
One of the problems I had was the booster, the brake booster.
Okay.
So I went to BMW in Puerto Rico, and we had a discount and everything because I was at that time VP of the chapter.
Okay.
So my price was about $1,900, which I said no. So one benefit BMW has when you are part of the BMW CCA, Car Club of America, and I recommend everyone because what you pay for that membership, I don't know now, maybe now it's $50 or $60 a year. Then you would receive a magazine that is called Roundel. It's only dedicated to BMWs, and pretty much each month brings a special edition on a particular car.
Okay.
Now it'll come on the M4, it'll come on the M5, and it'll talk about yours. It comes on the 840. So I looked there, and I called the guy in California who said he had the parts. He sent me the exact same part in a BMW original brand new part, and I had it in Puerto Rico for about $657. Landed in my door.
Wow.
So that gives members a benefit, you know. So yeah,
How long were you in Puerto Rico?
I moved to Puerto Rico from Texas in 1966, and I left in 2012.
I see.
I grew up over there.
And how is the BMW world over in Puerto Rico?
Oh.
Nuts.
Big.
So is it BMW first and then like Mini second? Because I hear a lot of Puerto Ricans enjoy the Minis too.
Well, no. Well, the Minis are, but no. The BMW is going to be outrun them any day of the week. There's going to be more BMWs than Minis, and there are Minis. But you have you'll have the local people that have also created a big community in Toyotas, but that's been for years.
I see.
Now the Infiniti over there, you got a club that it's full of Infinitis. They've grown really big, but you have the same pretty much that you see here. You got your Lambos, your McLarens, you got your Vipers, you get everything.
Yeah, but what made you join the Infiniti world, though? I mean, you're a German guy, pretty much.
Yeah, when I was over there, and in the 2008 crash,
right?
That's when I had my 330 Ci convertible.
Okay.
And I loved it. I had it with the AutoWorks escape system. I mean, it was a great car, but I had to get rid of it because a lot of companies went down.
Right.
Folded.
I mean, it was a recession.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a badass. In Puerto Rico, the strong market then was the pharmaceutical industry.
Interesting.
So there was 1,100 pharmaceuticals on that little island. Now there's only about 300 left because they all emigrated when the situation happened. Well, long story short, so I had bought my wife an Acura TL,
Okay.
and I had my BMW, and I still had my company car.
Okay.
Okay, but I lose my job, company cars. I try to keep it, I couldn't. So I got rid of the Beamer. I sold it.
Okay.
And I bought my wife an Infiniti FX35
This
SUV, and I took the Beamer. I mean the Acura, and it was a great car. And then I did a couple of things to it, and it was a lot of fun. So when American transfers my wife to Dallas, I said I'm not going to sell them because they were moving everything. So I said let's take the cars and then I'll see what happens over there.
Right.
So when I got here, her car started giving problems. It had 180,000 miles.
Mhm.
So I went to Infiniti and I got her a Q50S 2015. And the car had 328 horsepower.
So pretty much new.
But it was powerful. And when I got on it, and I said, "Whoa, this feels good." So I had that one for a while. Then I went back to service it, and I created a good relationship with the people there. And they said, "Listen, give us the car, and we'll give you a new one at 2017, and we'll apply because I had it for a month or two. We'll apply whatever you gave to this one, and you'll pay a little bit more." But I said, "Okay." So I got my first one, twin turbo Q50. I gave it to my wife, and I kept the Acura. I said I'm going to smoke it to the ground, but it started same thing. That one had 200,000 miles,
I see.
and 134 from Puerto Rico, where the roads aren't the best.
Right.
So I got my first Q60, which was the base. Then when I went into service at about 3 months into it, they had the S Silver, and that one had paddle shifters. It had a couple of things more that had the silver Akebono calipers. And I tell the guy, I said, "Man, that's the one I wanted." I asked. He says, "Let's do the same deal. Drop your car off, take it," and I paid a little bit more.
Okay.
So that one I was going to keep. I put everything that this car has, pretty much, because on this I put other things on that one because I said I'm going to keep it. So they called me one day, and they say, "Come on, Ricky, we got a red Sport here." And I said, "No, I'm not interested. I'm happy with what I got." And I'll tell whoever's looking that's interested in Infiniti that the truth is that you can get as much horsepower out of the 300 horsepower compared to the 400 horsepower. You can get it run beautiful. And this one obviously has more power, but if you would have asked me, if I would have known, I would have said, "You know what? I'm going to keep my silver." Because it was great. I had the chip on it and all that. Anyhow, I got a deal, so I took the red and then I put everything it has on it. And it's a great car. I like it a lot. It's a fun car to drive. It's comfortable. It's powerful. So that's how I got there. I've thought on Beamers. I've thought on other things. And as a matter of fact, I've thought on now, but I have to put it aside because now my job requires me to drive a bit, and I'm not going to put the miles on the Infiniti. So I wanted to get another 840, or a E46,
E46 M3,
a 2006, 2004, but now I can't until the frog grows hair again. Yeah. So for now, I got to get me a SUV impounded, but yeah, I'm happy with the car.
Wait, go back. What now?
I'll pound the car again.
Oh my God. Pound it to the ground.
Yeah, I'll pound it to the ground.
I thought you said you got to impound it. I was
I'll pound it to the ground.
Okay.
Poundingly impounded.
Poundingly impounded.
Two different things.
Just like an M5 will be.
Yeah, sure. But so we've had our fair shares as far as the cruises and the rallies, and this
fun.
guy,
all of them fun.
This guy,
that Infiniti's fast.
Yeah, he. When we went to Austin last year, that was our first time. That was the first time I met Ricky.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not meet Ricky. I get this phone call, and he was like, "Hey, man, like, what is this rally thing to Austin? Like, what's going on? Like, can you elaborate a little bit on this?" I'm like, I'm thinking about getting a cabin. There's going to be 35 cars. We're going to be in Austin.
Sign me up.
Dude,
yeah, I know, right?
Let me tell you this, Cameron. Like, I'm not going to lie. That was, for a lot of people, that was like the highlight of their driving experience. Because there was 35 of us. God, during COVID.
It was a blast. Yeah, during COVID.
The weather was
I had
amazing.
just been operated.
That's right. On
2 weeks before.
That's right.
Oh,
we go there, bro. We get this cabin. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's having a good time. Like,
that place
no
was
issues.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and I'll just never forget. We wake up at 4:00 in the morning and it's pouring rain in the middle of nowhere. And then right at 6 o'clock, the sun is about to rise. You see all the fog, and then it gets sunny.
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day. 8 o'clock in the morning. We're all ready to go. We start heading out. We go to Salt Lake Barbecue, get the fucking barbecue, fill
Stuffed.
ourselves up. But it was the best stuffing because we needed it because we're going to drive like 3.5 hours. We had already driven 3 hours the day before, and
We drove
everybody
more
was
than 2.5 hours
I
the day
mean,
before.
I mean, it was nuts, but it was so much. We had walkie-talkies. We were constantly talking.
All at 60 miles an hour. That was the only boring.
Yeah, that was the only boring part. But
How did you manage to go 60?
because we got stuck in Waco.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Someone locked the keys in their car.
Oh, yeah, about that.
Oh,
yeah.
go back.
My dumbass, all excited. We were going to be ahead of schedule going into the Oasis Cafe, and sure enough,
But that was at a
I was at a Buc-ee's in Temple,
Yeah.
and sure enough, my dumbass left the keys in the car, and I just held up everybody. Unfortunately, that was the only hiccup. If we didn't have that hiccup, it would have been much better.
But we had a good time there. Everyone was talking, having a good
Yeah,
time.
that
checking
pretty
out the
much.
cars,
Yeah,
everyone.
absolutely. But the next day after we had lunch, we were driving the back roads like there was no tomorrow. Like the highlight of that drive. Nobody was around us. Nobody bothered us.
You know what I found really funny?
What?
I would have never sworn David was such a driver.
Right?
Dave,
Right?
I'm like, he's so quiet. And,
Speaking of, you know, he sold his M5 last week.
he did.
He sold his E16 M5. Yeah. So
What is
he's,
he told me he was going to get a GT.
He's in the works right now, working on a different.
Yeah, he
project.
told me he's going to get something else. He has a Porsche.
Yeah.
Which I want to see because
It's a beautiful Porsche.
It's an old one. It's in the
Yeah.
70s or
I think it's a
60
79,
or 79,
or something like that.
that's-
74 or
those,
79.
I think those were still water cooled. So
I mean,
those are the
regardless, it's a Porsche. At the end of the day.
those are good. I mean, that's what I.
Bro, and so that was one hiccup with me leaving my keys. The other hiccup was that with this one road that we were on, the one-way road, they were resurfacing one area, but we didn't give a fuck.
My car's
dude.
still full of chips. I haven't sent the car to get painted.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That means you're a true driver.
we were really beating it there.
It was fun. And then after that,
it was a fun ride.
yeah, we had lunch, and then we said, "Fuck it, let's all go back to Dallas." And sure enough, we all got back to Dallas, and shit, the rest was history.
Are you going with us in June? Down to
Twisted Sisters.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm
I think
got the hotels. I'm trying to get the hotels arranged in terms of where we're going to stay at.
Trying to get the tune and the LSD. So
Yeah.
okay.
Just one night stay.
before.
It's going to be a one night stay in San Antonio, and then the next morning we'll hit Twisted Sisters and then come back to Dallas. You know, we got Texas 2K coming up, going to Houston. I got a couple people showing up, and then the BMW Evasion Rally is
Right after
happening.
that.
Yeah, right after that. So it's going to be a busy. It's going to be a busy March for me, for the most part. Yeah, from all the cruises. February, nobody went to any car shows in February. I only went to one car show. That was back in January, and I had the cruise. And then
Well, today I went to. I didn't sign up, but I just drove by Cars and Coffee,
yeah,
and it wasn't. And obviously, it's because of the weather.
right.
It was misty. I mean,
It was misty and
I drove.
foggy,
When I drove by, it was about maybe 10:30. 10,
Yeah.
and it was still misty.
Yeah,
And it was people were leaving. So
That's right.
it wasn't that the show wasn't good. It was
Right.
that the weather.
well, I was going to have my exotics cruise today, and I said, guys, I'm going to postpone it till next week because of this weather, right?
Yeah.
Since same thing with tomorrow's cruise, I pushed it back till March 14th next month.
Yeah, because they say it's going to rain tomorrow. too.
Yeah, well, we're going to have
Absolutely.
thunderstorms tomorrow. So, anyways, but back on topic now. We can even
Back
though we got
on
a little bit
track.
back topic. So, your dream car is a Porsche GT3 RS
Okay.
or a Turbo S.
Or a turbo.
And you think you'll have that within the next 10 years, which is
Absolutely.
good, which is really good. I'm like very happy
That's
for you.
fantastic.
I mean, it will not be new.
It doesn't have to
It
be.
doesn't need to be.
It doesn't have to be new.
But I will.
Does not have to be
I
new.
look to aim to have that's my dream car. A lot of people tell me they don't run so fast, the Porsches, and if you really think of it, there are cars that are faster than the GT3 RS.
Mm-hmm.
You do a couple of things on it, and it'll run. But we had a 997 turbo in Puerto Rico. We put spray on it. We did a ton of things. The 911S,
Mm-hmm.
and people have to understand that Porsche is a car that it's freaking reliable.
Right.
On the
You
track
take
and
care
off
of
the
it.
track.
You take care of it, and it's like a freaking Toyota.
Well, I mean,
it won't break
yeah.
down. You
Not
know?
only that, it doesn't depreciate as
and
much.
it doesn't depreciate.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, if you've ever driven one, they're really fun cars to drive.
Absolutely. Yeah,
They're-
absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah, you got the technology, you got the history of them. You know, you got a car that you know that you can have it as long as you want it. If you take care of it, don't be stupid with it.
Right.
And you know, until you decide to change it or you just die with it. Or
Basically.
whatever.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
It's a good car.
They're good cars to inherit, like to give
Exactly.
your family and stuff too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like he said, you know, they're good, reliable cars, and they hardly depreciate. The depreciation factor is what's key in any type of car that
Yep.
you're trying to buy. And
Absolutely.
Porsche, for some reason, figured it out that we're going to build an engine or we're going to build a type of car that's not going to depreciate as much.
Yeah.
I wish BMW would do that.
That's right.
Well, here's the thing. I think in BMW, where BMW factors in terms of appreciation value, it's like after 20 years or 25
Yeah.
years or 30
Then they
years.
start really holding.
Then they start. And I think the reason why is because when they start, I mean, I think this is with any company.
Yeah.
In terms of cars.
To some extent.
But when they first build the car, right? Well, within the first 5 years, they'll figure out what's wrong with the car.
Yep.
The next 5
Like
years.
any car.
Yeah.
Right. The next 5 years, you can figure out what you got to do to prevent that car. And people are doing research. So already 10 years have gone by in terms of research of how to keep a car reliable of your year, make, and model.
Yeah.
Year 15 is saying that, okay, now that we fix it, but how can we make it better? Can we make new parts out of it? And then 5 years after that, they're like, yo, dude, I think this is it.
Yes.
Well,
For instance, for my car, right, the M5 V60. Took almost like 10 to 15, 20 years of research to come back and say, yo, you need these rod bearings. Yo, you need this tune. Yo, you need this. Yo, you can now build a twin turbo kit, supercharger kit. I mean, in the beginning, you just don't know. You're just like, dude, I'm taking a leap of faith of what you're telling me.
Well,
Yeah,
well the
you
thing
know?
is with BMW, and I love the car, is that I usually kept my cars after I paid them off for a while.
Right.
And Beamers, you always have to have a deep pocket.
Of course. Absolutely.
You know, my
Yeah,
cars,
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
kept them in pristine condition.
Right.
You know, the engine, everything.
Right.
And every other week, some
Exactly.
little thing came
Ignition
out.
coil.
Something, you
Throttle
know,
body,
something.
Silver
So
5 and
stupid.
6.
Yeah.
and the thing, so that's what was one of the other reasons I changed. Now, you look at the Infiniti, they lose value
Yeah.
immediately,
I mean, you look at the 350Zs and the 370Zs.
and they go
They
down.
tanked.
Yet, and that's why now you're seeing maybe a little bit more Q60s because the aftermarket
Right.
is what's getting
Correct.
hold of them.
Mhm.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is that they depreciate and sometimes very strong, but it doesn't take away that it's a reliable car.
And I think a lot of people misunderstand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're like, why is it so cheap? That means it breaks
Exactly.
down
So
a lot.
it's a piece
No,
of junk, or you know.
But
Or leaks oil all the
Well,
time. Yeah.
volume.
Yeah, volume.
Yeah.
When you have so many of those,
Absolutely.
obviously you're going to be like, yo, dude, I can find a 350Z tomorrow. I
Everything
can find
my
a
car
370Z
has-
tomorrow. Right?
I've done it.
Right.
I put the downpipes. I put the cat back.
Right.
Mhm.
I put the reservoir. The intakes.
It's very
Uh,
tech savvy when you're trying to use it to
It's
understand how
on
well you
my
want to
Beamer, I
perform.
did a lot of it also.
Beamers
but
are a bitch.
Beamers
though.
are a bitch.
Beamers are a bitch.
Absolutely.
You got it. If you
Beamers are a
don't know
bitch.
exactly what you're doing, you don't want to. You don't want to
I'm
venture.
telling you,
know?
Mustafa did my headers
Oh, but the headers are
16 hours, dude. 2
16
days.
hours.
16 hours. Drop the engine like 4 inches. Drop the fucking subframe.
Yep.
Get access to the headers, you know. And I even had help. You know what I mean?
Still, it's for me. It's the engine of the. That's one thing. Also, the engine of the Q60
Mm-hmm.
is the same short block as the GTR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the the 400 versus the 300. 400 brings 2 water pumps.
Mm-hmm.
It has other turbo safety
Mm-hmm.
items in the car, but it's a strong engine, really strong.
There's a
I mean,
lot that you can do to.
They can get a beating, and if you take care of it, the same
When-
thing. It'll last a long time.
When we're talking about the GTRs, just like I said,
Look at what they do to them. They put them up at 1,200, 1,600 horsepower.
3,300
and
horsepower.
those things keep on. They don't.
3,300 horsepower. I mean,
No.
that's just nuts.
No.
That's just crazy. Like,
No.
why? You know what I mean? But
I don't-
that's why I was like, you know what? That's why I believe my next car is going to be the GTR.
It is a
because-
good car.
It's a great car. Like, I think in terms of reliability, even though the price is up, but you're not going to be spending that routinely. You know what I mean? Versus BMW that you're going to
Yeah.
be spending routinely, right? You might do a transmission service here and there. You might tune
Yeah,
it,
but-
whatever. But at the end of the day, you're like, it's a Nissan. I can
Yeah.
do a lot with this.
You know, I'll tell you something else comparable to my car, which obviously it's ridiculous, and it's the new Supra.
Mm-hmm.
That car has a Z4 engine on it.
Right.
That engine is bad ass.
The B58. Yeah.
This car, you put $2,000 or $3,000 into it,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes stupid.
Yeah, it becomes a fucking machine.
I don't know why. You know, it's
Look, technology.
I mean, yeah,
you
but
gotta think about technology.
it's that
It's nuts. Yeah,
I mean, I
completely
put
agree.
that in my car, and a guy comes and puts less than that, and he'll run me over.
Yeah.
I admit it. You know,
Right.
my car's fast, but I haven't crossed paths with
Mhm.
one yet. But I've talked to there's these people. I have a buddy that he just set up his Q60, put the tune, and he's
Mhm.
spent about $16,000 in the car doing
Holy
stuff.
shit.
And the guys who are doing it, they're called Predator, and they're in Puerto Rico, and they have 30 years of experience. They just do McLarens, GTRs, and the owner has a Q60, which he just dismantled the engine. He upgraded the rods,
Fully built.
pistons, everything. And he says that still, with all that, a guy with a nice setup, now we're talking bigger turbos
Mhm.
and stuff like that, in a Supra, will run him over.
Right.
So that was one car that I was thinking in. It's just that for me, it looks too young.
Well,
for
here's my
age.
opinion. Here's my opinion about the brand new Supras. It's too small.
It's too small.
It's too
That's-
small.
It's
not
not
the
you
MK.
sit on it
It's not the MK4 where it was actually big,
Yeah,
roomy.
you
know,
sit
like
on
felt
it,
com-
and I mean, you feel
It's a Z4 with
Yep.
the Toyota badge
That's
on
right.
it, called a
Yep.
Supra. At the end of the day, BMW helped them
exactly.
out.
They're involved
You know what I mean?
in the development.
And right now, I was talking about that with Haley, and she said, next topic, where it was like, so what do you think about the brand new Toyota Supras with a 2.0 four-cylinder? She was like, next topic. Does it make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you just, it doesn't do you any justice, you know?
No, so I mean that. So I discarded that, and I'm pretty much held on the Porsche. So I'll see what happens. If there's one thing that's out there, are cars that offer many things. If you really want to invest and put them to run.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought of going back to Beamer, but if I do, as I said, it would be as a second car.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be a daily driver, because Beamer has some masterful cars out there. The 8 Series is one of them that
Yeah.
it's still you still pull out an 840 on the road,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to turn next,
Mm-hmm.
and people are going to say, "What the hell is that? Is that
And that's funny, right?
Is that the new BMW?"
I mean, regardless.
because it was ahead of its time.
I mean, regardless, like, a lot of people misunderstand just in general about cars.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
from Mercedes, from Porsche, from
Mercedes is a good
BMW,
car.
right?
Yeah.
Or in Nissan GTRs, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're just like right now, generic cars are Mustangs, Camaros, the Shelby kit cars, and then the JDM community, you know what I mean? From Honda
JDM community
Civics.
is big, and the thing with JDM community is that there's so much out there,
Mhm.
aftermarket,
Right.
and if not, they'll make it up,
Not only will they make it up, they'll make it reasonable for you to buy.
and it'll work.
Yeah, and
You
it'll
know?
work, and,
Yeah.
and people get inspired by that.
Yeah,
You go to an import face-off, it is all JDMs.
and it's more cost effective because it will never reach
Right.
the height. You know,
Yeah, the
you'll
pinnacle,
spend
yeah.
because you're gonna spend, but
Right.
you're not gonna spend the amount like when you put headers on your car
Right.
versus. So yeah,
Right,
it's-
exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, people get, excuse me, people get passionate about what they want to do with their cars,
Oh.
specifically in the JDM community.
Yeah.
In the JDM community, they're like, dude, it needs to be painted, or it needs to be wrapped. It needs to have a wide body kit. It needs to
Exactly.
have drift wheels on
Exactly.
it. It needs to have the e-brake all the way up here. It needs to have, the Japanese
Yep.
cartoons. It needs to have this custom-built steering wheel. They're like, we really don't care if we go that fast.
Exactly.
Like, I would rather be this way.
The lights,
Cosmetics.
The
They like to be
lights,
cosmetic friendly more.
the bags. Yeah, that's right. That's
Right. Versus the German world, they're like, dude, I want to see what I can do. I want to see how
Exactly.
fast I can do, how fast I can go.
Exactly.
Right. But then the American muscles come in. They're like, well, I'm going to manhandle you. Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, they have torque. That's the only difference between that and the majority of the European cars. Torque or all-wheel drive, horsepower, right? But then again, you're just like, as a European car, you're just like, no, I'll catch you in some areas. You might get me and you might get me at torque, you might get me at this, but there's always going to be a give and take, in my opinion. But here's the thing, like for instance, you can't turn a Mustang at 150 miles an hour.
And to make it hit 150 miles an hour, you've put a shitload of money in it.
Right, and I think the
Or
top
unless it's a GT350, and I've
or a
ran
GT350R.
I've ran with them,
Right.
and we've been side by side. As that the guy got off and he said, "Man, your car's freaking fast."
Weight, performance, having turbos,
Having turbos, but those turbos are like two oranges.
Matter.
They're
it don't
small,
matter. Yeah,
but they push.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, factory, they're doing about, I think it's about 13 or 14 pounds factory.
Okay.
So when you put the JB4 on, you can push them up to 19, 20, 21. I sold my JB4 because the JB4, you can have problems with your turbos.
I see.
Versus a tune. Because the JB4, what it does is just spools, and it may overspool, and that's where your turbos become problematic.
And when it overspools, sometimes cylinder 5 and 6 get mad at you, and you think you blew up your engine.
My car was, the turbos were replaced.
We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm talking
I
about
remember. My car, the turbos were replaced.
Mhm.
And I know it was because, as I said, I run a MAP 3 that it gave it at about 3,000 RPM. At 2,000, it would start at 2 pounds more, and the top was 6 pounds, and it cuts off at about 6,500 RPM.
Okay.
Still, it is overspooling. There's no. So when I took my car in, they changed them because they said, listen, they're good, but we found a little bit of oil in them. So that's enough for us. We're going to put a new set. So when I did that, I said, you know what? I'm getting rid of the JB4. So I sold it, and my next step is that a tune. The other day when I was running without a JB4. Did you see any difference?
I didn't feel.
I mean, the fact that it was an Infiniti and not a BMW.
But
that was the only
still,
difference.
Yeah.
Still, I humiliated a few people that they don't like me too much. That's okay.
That's fun.
But anyhow, the thing is that so people have to understand when you do JB4s and chips and stuff what they do, because these cars are technologically, when you buy this car, it is set up.
Yeah.
And I hate when I see people out there, oh, this will give you 50. Oh, I'm buying that. This will give you 10 more. I'm buying that. And they dump all these things. And I remember one guy had one of my cars, and he was just putting everything. It was a 300 horsepower, and his engine blew up. And he got upset because I told him, listen, that car comes set up, and it'll permit and allow certain mods. But you can't put everything they tell you out there that's gonna, because then you're really pushing the engine. You're gonna, and he got upset with me, and I said, I'm not trying to put you down. I'm just telling you I put in my car certain things, and that's why I tell you I'll do the tune, because the tune goes all around transmission, fuel, air, everything.
Right.
So it works fine, and still you can do 2, 3, 8 maps different based on what. If you're running E85,
it's its own ambiance.
Exactly. So you can put it to whatever you want, and it'll work.
Yes.
But just putting that where it's just pushing boost, very dangerous.
His
Yeah, I
car's
mean,
not
general-
ready for that. He's not ready
general
for that.
boost is really
Scaring the
shitty.
crap out of the car.
Yeah.
In general, I mean,
Very dangerous. So you remember that time when Patrick said, "Let's go to Mexico," and he just humiliated me that my car looked like a Christmas tree. You know, it was.
Are you willing to challenge him again?
I am
Yeah,
Patrick?
absolutely.
Yeah, Patrick with the M340.
Absolutely.
I want to be there for that one.
Yeah,
There's 3 lanes.
I dare to roll.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm gonna, because Patrick, his car's fast.
Always cars.
Yeah, I mean,
His
we
car
did.
is-
Yeah, we were one time in Mexico, and we were side by side.
Yeah,
But the
car's
thing is
fast.
that I don't, and maybe it's like I said, maybe my car is heavier, or maybe I was doing something wrong. But for some odd reason, ever since I changed my fuel pump,
fuel pump is
a factor,
critical.
right?
yes.
I feel like my car is capable now.
Yeah, I don't have fuel pump. I have the regular ones, but his car changed a lot when he did the fuel pump.
Yeah,
Remember when we did that Austin race? That
right.
I was running
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah,
So yeah, his car's running nice, and he keeps it in good condition.
yeah. No, and
I'm glad that my pipe burned him on the knee, because he stoned my car and he chipped it. So I remember when he got burned, like, oh, I said, well, that's what you get for stoning.
It's
Is
your
that what he
karma.
was telling me about that
I
day when he
guess
burned
so.
his leg?
Yeah, I guess so.
And he still has a scar. That's the
he
best part.
showed me the
for life.
scar. He was
Oh
telling me
my
about
gosh.
it. Okay, that makes
That
sense. It all comes full circle.
Yeah, Patrick's a good guy. I enjoy talking to him. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, but it would be fun to do that roll, see what happens.
Oh, should be fun. I want to do that roll with you guys.
No, I can't do that with you.
I'll be right
Your
there.
car's a retard.
My car is nuts. Yeah.
We'll be able to hear the honks. Or the 1, 2, 3.
No, not
I
even
mean,
that.
now-
Not even that.
No.
Not even that. You're
I
gonna have
mean,
to do
right
it with
now-
your fingers. 1, 2, 3.
But you got to admit, like even when we're in the rally, like yeah, I did. This is gonna sound bragging, obviously, but
Oh, yeah?
I'm just super confident in my car.
No, your
with
car
its
is
capability.
your car is a beast. I say it not because you're here,
Mhm.
because you're an asshole, but the car is really. I
Absolutely.
mean,
I agree.
I say it with love.
I'm not.
But
I'm
anyhow,
not arguing with you.
the thing is that the car is your car is. I drove it and it's just raw power.
Yeah, but I think you definitely have to drive it again now.
Shit, I wouldn't
especially with
dare.
what I have. Why not?
I don't know, man, because if it did it, I mean, the time I ran it, I put 170 miles on it.
Yeah, now you got
And
to
it,
200.
I think it could have gone up 175, 180. I didn't.
No, you need
Just
to
keeps
get it back.
going.
He was.
And he's like, keep on going. Keep
Yeah,
on going.
exactly. He's yelling at me the same thing.
He was in the car with me, and I did $191.
Yes, that's speed.
But 200 is a different.
It's a whole
world.
different story.
It's a different world.
You haven't done 200.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Multiple times now. I want to be right behind you now.
Where
Let's
do
go.
you? Well, don't say that. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
We'll get there when we
yeah,
get there.
exactly. But anyhow, no, you're
Somewhere nearby.
Yeah, somewhere nearby. I
In
can
Mexico,
imagine.
right? Across the border?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But your car is a totally different story. You know, it's your car is just raw power, and it picks up, immediately.
Well, it's funny because when we did our first episode, he felt like my car has less horsepower than what I have. He was not really that impressed. He felt like it drove like his Challenger.
What
I say feeling wise, it felt.
Challenger do you have?
I had a 392.
He had a 392 before he bought his M4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I felt power delivery wise,
Really?
it felt similar.
Well, maybe I
In
think that
delivery.
the aerodynamics of the car do a lot.
Yeah.
Although both cars, comparing your aerodynamics are not the most modern, so it's still a
No, it's
square car.
It's a
It'll
sedan.
It'll
It's
hold
clunky.
air.
It's a
Yeah.
sedan.
And the
with
Challenger,
V10.
it has its lines, but still it's a wide, big
It's still
car.
a big
So
wide car, yeah.
I think that's one of the things that helps me. My car I have it, lowered, and it has its lines. Your M4,
And you're light.
you must feel,
and you're
really-
light.
and I'm light.
And
You
now
can
with this-
feel the air going around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
my car's about 30. I think right now it's about 3,800 pounds, 3,800 pounds. It should be.
Okay.
I think that's right around what I'm at, give or take.
I think,
Interesting.
if
Yeah.
not a few more, but
Yeah.
it's around that. So,
Somewhere around there.
but yeah, I mean, no, your car it's another, and then with all those things you've done to it. I mean, I was parking and I heard that car. I said, "Damn, that must be a badass car." When it was coming, it was you, and it's fucking Naveed.
Yeah, because I finally took the mufflers off today, and I
Oh, it was today.
Yeah, it was today.
No
because
wonder.
because Zeke just purchased his M3. It's a
Yeah.
competition M3, and I was like, listen, I've had a lot of people tell me to take my damn mufflers off, and because they
Sounds
want me to show.
beautiful.
It sounds.
You will end in jail, you know that. But
That's
it sounds
fine.
beautiful.
That's absolutely.
If they
fine.
catch
Deal
you.
with it.
That's
if you
fine.
let yourself get caught, then
That's fine because I'm headed for Mexico.
I want to hear it in Mexico.
Yeah.
You should drive it in Mexico.
I want to hear it in Mexico.
Oh, you'll
That
hear
must
it.
be something.
You'll hear it. I passed.
go.
I passed him doing a $1.90.
Oh.
So.
That must be, yeah, but it
That was
didn't have
before the
noise.
mufflers were
Yeah, that's what
on,
I'm
too.
talking about. I want to hear it
Hey,
in Mexico.
Oh, we can. Yeah,
It goes in the tunnel.
So
It's got to be.
with that being said, anyways, we really enjoyed you having.
Thank you.
on the
Appreciate
show.
you guys
Absolutely.
inviting me. You know that I always like talking about cars.
Yeah,
And
we should definitely.
spending-
We'll be definitely getting a lot more people here, but we'll start making this routine now. So every
Absolutely.
time we want to get people to come through, we'll get people to come through. But do you have any more questions for us?
Do you have the winning lottery numbers for next week?
Yeah, let me pull out of my left ass cheek and we'll see what
That's a loser.
Naveed, I put it in the right.
That's a
cheek zone.
loser then. Forget about it.
Well, with that being said, once again, thanks a lot for being here. It was
Thank
a
you for
great
having me here,
opportunity.
guys.
Yes, sir.
It was
And
fun.
We're signing off, guys. So
Peace
take
out.
care.